This is Middlesex Moments. I'm Jonathan Daube, Interim President of Middlesex Community College, and my guest today is Ian Canning, who's Director of Business and Industry Services at Middlesex Community College. What does a Director of Business and Industry Services do?
Director of Business and Industry Services at Middlesex. I oversee a variety of non-credit classes, continuing education classes, really career and workforce development. So helping students get into classes that are either going to provide them with their first entry-level position for employment, or just updating their skills. If they, for example, we have a manufacturing program, and if they're looking to move up the ladder, they've chatted with their supervisor and are looking for more skills that are going to help them move up the ladder, then that's what we do.
So given the need of the state for workforce development, and the new governor's talking about that all the time, you must be really important.
It's a crucial plug-in. It really is. We work a lot with businesses, community members, and really reaching across to credit programs to help students move into those as well. So it's kind of a catch-all position, keeps us busy. And
how long have you been at the college?
I've been here 2 years.
And when you were hired 2 years ago, what was the expectation?
Well, at that point, actually, the economy was still seeming to be humming along. So I
just
think the
2 years ago,
yes,
how life changes.
Exactly. So I think the expectation at that point was a little bit different than what it is now. It was really just to continue to expand, deepen our relationships with businesses, and now it's really growing programs to help people find jobs and really more job creation than anything else.
Who is the largest employer in our area?
That's a great question.
Would it be the hospital?
I would think it was either the hospital, or I may look towards Aetna. Pratt & Whitney, of course, used to be, and they've been downsizing, unfortunately.
So the hospital, Aetna, Pratt & Whitney, yeah. I assume you have connections with all three of them.
We do.
This is Middlesex Moments. I'm Jonathan Daube, and we'll be back momentarily. This is Middlesex Moments. I'm Jonathan Daube, Interim President of Middlesex Community College, and my guest today is Ian Canning, who's Director of Business and Industry Services, and he works with workforce development. Let me paint a picture for you. If I'm out there listening and I'm unemployed at this point, I might or might not have a high school diploma or a GED or whatever, but I'm enthusiastic and I want to work. Talk to me. What can you do for me?
Sure. Well, all of our conversations are really directed to whoever is calling us or coming in to chat with us. So if it's a young person who's maybe fresh out of high school, or maybe just has some training previously, and looking to get started and wants a direction, what we're going to do within continuing education is chat about their background, what skills, what are they passionate about, what do they like to do, because the more we've found is that if people are doing what they like, it doesn't seem like work. They're going to enjoy it. It really sets them on more of a career pathway.
Sure. Yeah. But let's say I'm out there and I don't really know what I like to do.
Sure.
A lot of us haven't figured that
Absolutely.
out yet. Should they come in and talk to you?
They absolutely should, because the other thing that we're going to do, we do have classes for people who don't, and there are a lot of us out there who really don't know what they want to do,
right.
or maybe they've had a job that they don't really like. They want to move in a different direction. We have a career counseling session with somebody who comes in and not only looks at their background as far as workforce skills, but also what does their personality say. We do a Myers-Briggs test with students. And then they have an individual, and the Myers-Briggs, just for those who don't know, is really a personality test to tell you what skills.
Yep, I remember taking that one.
Absolutely,
yep.
I did as well.
But I'm not going to tell you how I did.
That's fine. So basically that's going to be a first step. Then they're going to meet one-on-one with our career counselor to look at resume building and where their skills are to really align with what kind of jobs and what kind of training they would really need.
So somebody who's listening to us who's either unemployed or underemployed or in a job they don't like, whatever their qualifications, they can come in and talk to you.
Absolutely.
Give us a phone number.
Sure, it's 860-343-4888. 5865 is our continuing education office.
343-5865.
5865.
And they should ask to talk to
They can ask to
Ian Canning, or
they can ask to speak with me. They can ask to just speak with continuing education, or just tell their story, and we can direct them appropriately.
So even if someone doesn't have a high school diploma,
Sure.
we can help them?
Absolutely. We have a variety of workforce training courses for those that don't have a high school diploma. And we also work very collaboratively with our adult education office right here in Middletown, as well as that one in Meriden, and of course collaboratively with our credit side as well.
So in your experience, what kind of skills are employers looking for these days?
It's funny, actually. We always tend to look at what new technical training programs can we put together with more of the, let's say, for example, we're looking into pharmacy technician, a variety of allied health courses. We always say when we're talking with employers, looking at more of the technical background. And employers are telling us, in fact, actually, what we're looking to do is develop the internal leader. They're really always looking more for supervisory skills, good communication, basically good work ethic, which is, of course, difficult to teach, but we certainly try.
You mean things like showing up on time?
Showing up on time, not being on your cell phone continuously, addressing every client that's coming in appropriately, and kind of working with people. So we've really started to look into those quote-unquote soft skills much more, and building those into our other certificate programs, either on the front or back end of those. And employers are telling us we can teach the rest, but if you can get people to us that really want to work, understand the good communication, then we can train the rest of it.
Now, are there some fields where there are vacancies where people can get jobs?
Absolutely.
In Middlesex County or Meriden?
Sure. In fact, we went to, I'm part of the Workforce Alliance Planning Committee, which is a funding agency out of New Haven. And being part of their planning committee, they just did a very in-depth study working with Monster.com and the Connecticut Economic Resource Center to look at what jobs are available in our service region. And of course, allied health, healthcare in general, you hear about. We have a variety of different healthcare programs. It's not just CNA. We do
CNA is
certified nurse aid.
Okay.
So that's direct patient care. But we have other classes for students who aren't necessarily interested in direct patient care, but would like to be in the healthcare industry. Medical billing and coding is certainly a good example. But there are also vacancies right now in our region. We have a variety of restaurants. There's certainly
so I've
good
discovered
food.
it's wonderful.
Wonderful food in Middletown, Meriden as well. Frontline supervisors within restaurants. Just getting yourself a ServSafe certification. Every restaurant must have somebody on staff that has a ServSafe certificate. So we're looking into that.
Now, what does that mean?
It basically means that they're following all the standards of safety and protection of food in order to make sure that it's fresh, well kept.
And to get a ServSafe certificate, what kind of credentials do I need?
It's actually taking a course. We're looking into offering that here at Middlesex next semester.
Do I have to be a high school graduate to do that?
You would. And after that, it's really just about a 20 to 30 hour course that you can take. And following completion of an exam, you're actually registered with ServSafe.
And you think that if I get a ServSafe credential,
yes,
I'd probably get some kind of a job?
If you have good communication skills are certainly important in the restaurant. Anytime that you're dealing with the general public, you want to have the personality in order to be successful at that. But there are a lot of different jobs within the restaurant industry going on right now, and that's been a real target point that was a bit surprising to me, but that it's actually growing.
So what I'm hearing from you is there are jobs in the healthcare industry.
Yes.
There are jobs in the restaurant, the food industry.
Yes. There are jobs actually within manufacturing, and that's probably going to surprise you because every time we turn on the news or open up a newspaper, you hear that some of the larger companies are downsizing. But that's not true of actually the smaller and mid-sized companies who are growing. In fact, I just met with a tool and die maker, which is really precision metal stamping. And actually the company that I was meeting with works in graphite, which is a very precise industry within manufacturing. And they said, if you can send us 3 to 5 people, we'd hire them tomorrow.
Wow. And what kind of credentials would I need?
You actually
for
would
that?
need, we get a variety of different people that are coming through what we call our CNC, which is Computerized Numerical Control Manufacturing Program. It's about a 6-month program. It focuses on mathematics. So you need to at least be driven within mathematics. A lot of people hear math and they say, oh, I wasn't a great student in that, or I never really liked math. What you really need more than to be, to have an A in any class that you've taken in math, what you need to be is driven, willing to work at it, learn it, because it's very precise and important for manufacturing. So it certainly focuses on math, on blueprint reading, being able to read parts on a 2D piece of paper, but that's going to be reflective of a 3D either machine or part that you're going to be working with. It certainly focuses on that. And then you get to work on pretty cool machines, setting them up, and taking blueprint reading and actually programming computers to actually make these parts.
So what I'm hearing from you is encouraging. If somebody is without a job and they're motivated, and that I'm hearing very strongly. If
Yes.
they're without a job, but they're motivated, they really want to work, and they have good values, they're going to show up on time and that kind of thing,
Yes.
then you can find them something that will fit eventually.
Absolutely.
They might have to take a course or two, they might have to get some more credentials, but you can help them.
Yes, and even if it's a stepping stone, if they're looking to just get that first job, a lot of people come into us and they have that deer in the headlights look that's saying, I've been employed in XYZ industry and they've moved it overseas, or I really just want to reinvent myself. And we've been able to work with these students, get them either, some people want to start right at the back of the beginning, again, as I had mentioned before, looking into that career counseling.
Give me a phone number again.
Sure, it's 860
Yeah.
343 5865. And that's our-
5865. And anyone in Middlesex County or Meriden, for that matter, very welcome to call you up
Absolutely.
during reasonable hours.
Exactly.
343-5865.
That's our continuing education office.
That's the continuing education office. And they might be surprised that if there's motivation there, if they really want to work,
Has to have that motivation.
then it doesn't particularly matter even if they don't have a high school diploma.
No, in fact, that's the beauty of the non-credit side, is that we really are across all ages, all educational backgrounds, differently abled. We really are an open door policy. And the other beauty is that we actually work with, we are very much a network of community colleges, so we work with our sister colleges. If they have a unique program, they could certainly start here, and maybe we would find them, as they would with us, to direct students to the right college for them.
So the job situation isn't quite as bad as we sometimes read.
I think we tend to focus on some of the larger companies, or
Yeah.
those. We like to focus on some of the negativity, but there is a lot of positivity. We
Right.
are starting to turn that corner.
Well, this is Middlesex Moments. I'm Jonathan Daube, and we'll be back momentarily. This is Middlesex Moments. I'm Jonathan Daube, Interim President of Middlesex Community College. And my guest today is Ian Canning, who's Director of Business and Industry Services at Middlesex Community College. And we've been talking about how there are actually more jobs out there, even though we don't read about them in the paper very much. There are more jobs out there than one might think. Mostly, you said, in small and medium-sized businesses rather than in the big ones.
That's correct. Certainly, you hear a lot about healthcare. We were talking previously about the restaurant industry. Another large industry that I forgot to mention, and this cuts across different businesses, is updating computer skills. We tend to look more and more towards technology. Companies are looking for people within the information technology area that can either work on networks, that can repair computers, troubleshoot with computers. So that's certainly an area that we're looking into.
And that's something that can be learned.
Absolutely.
If someone who's listening to us is barely computer literate, maybe,
Sure.
or thinks they don't know much about computers,
Sure.
they must be like me, this can be learned.
Absolutely.
And I assume you offer courses.
We do. We offer a variety, and actually we also offer classes. Something else I'd like to mention is we offer a lot of courses online. People are busy, especially those that are employed or maybe working multiple jobs, and they say, well, I'm listening to this program and I just don't have the time for that. When am I going to find time between my parenting, my jobs, to go back to school? I chat with a lot of people that have that story. Often direct them towards the online venues that we have. We have a third-party vendor that works with us and offers courses that we wouldn't necessarily be able to put together as quickly as people need them. Excellent courses with great instructors. We vet all of them and look very carefully at what the course objectives are, what the students are going to learn on the other side of that. So there are a lot of courses that you might not see in our course guide that we have online that might interest you.
So when people come in off the street, if you will, they come up the hill, they come to talk to you, what's the commonest question you get asked?
Do you have this class, and do you have funding available that can help me pay for
Funding,
it?
we haven't talked about that.
Correct.
When somebody who may be unemployed right now wants to take a non-credit course,
Sure.
do they have to pay for it?
Well, certainly they're going to have to pay for our non-credit classes, but we do
About
have.
what kind of money are we talking about?
We try and make it very reasonable. We have certificate programs that could get people employed. Let's go back to something we were talking about previously, the Certified Nurse Aide program. Very reasonably priced to help someone get an entry-level position as a CNA, and the entire cost of the program is $1,000, and that includes your books. It includes the training that's included, and actually there's built in there, because the actual cost of the program is $900, but we're figuring people might need to go and get a nurse uniform, which is about $30 to $50, and most people have very comfortable shoes. They have a watch with a second hand, and after that it actually includes all the price of the training and the certification.
So if someone wants to enter that particular program and it's going to cost them about $1,000, can they borrow some of that? Is there financial aid?
We don't have financial aid on the non-credit side through the college, but what we do have, or we're working with partners on, is our Connecticut Works offices in Middletown and Meriden work with the college and a variety of different colleges in our service region to help people pay for it. And most of the clients that are going to Connecticut Works, and those are really, you'll know them as the unemployment offices, but they do much more than that. The funding stream is federal funding through the Department of Labor, and they're working with people that might be a dislocated worker. Maybe they've lost their job recently, maybe their job has located overseas, or just gone out of business in general. Or people who fall into a low-income category, and they work with all of those students.
So let's say a person somehow finds the $1,000, finds that they can borrow some of it, whatever. They go into the program. Once they're qualified, what kind of salaries might they look to?
Sure. Well, most of the salaries for the training that we're providing is somewhere in the high 20s, low 30s, which sounds tough. There's no question about that. But for a lot of our students, it's actually a jump up from what they've been making, or if they've been unemployed. These are stepping stone positions to greater possibilities with more training. It's steady work. We really do work with the employers to make sure that all of our training programs have a light at the end of the tunnel, that there is a job connected with all the training that we're doing. And I had been talking about manufacturing. I've also mentioned, I believe, pharmacy technician. And those jobs can, as you look at the other, with a little bit more training, some actual experience within the first couple of years, people can be making, especially within manufacturing, they can making upwards of $60,000 to $70,000 a year, which is certainly a wonderful salary, especially in this area.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm talking with Ian Canning, and his phone number is 343-5865. I should have put an 860 in front of that.
That's true.
860-343-5865. Tell me a bit about yourself. You
Sure.
have a bachelor's and a master's.
I do.
Then what?
When I when I started out, we were talking previously about not knowing necessarily what you want to do, and certainly I'm a child of that. I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Grew up in a household that was passionate about education, passionate about helping people, and that's really the.
Was this in Connecticut?
This was in
Yeah.
Connecticut. I grew up in a town called Pomfret. And actually still live
Over
up
in
in that
the
neck of the
northeast
woods.
corner.
The very quiet corner, as they say.
Yeah.
And so that's where I grew up. Went local to high school and went to Boston College. Knew that I wanted to stay in New England, although I traveled a little bit. The other thing that...
What's the furthest you traveled?
The furthest I actually traveled in college, I studied abroad for a couple of years. And that was when I was thinking about international business or perhaps international education as a career path for me. Was one of the best experiences.
So where were you living?
I lived in Granada, Spain for a
Oh,
year,
wow.
and then I split a year between Quito, Ecuador, and Cuernavaca, Mexico.
So how good is your Spanish?
My Spanish actually used to be very good. It was darn near fluent at one point, and it's been slipping, unfortunately. Haven't had as much of an opportunity to use it. But whenever I see
So
it,
anyone who's
Spanish-speaking.
Spanish-speaking and contemplating coming to see you,
please come chat.
walk
with me.
into the office speaking Spanish, please.
Give me some practice. I
Yeah,
need it.
that's right. Okay, so you did 2 years overseas.
I did, and then I came back and decided to go on. Again, was still thinking international business at that point. Went on for a master's, and started working for a consulting company in Atlanta, Georgia, for about 5 years in financial services. Again, economy was humming along, and then things started to look kind of grave within financial services, and I switched out of that and was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to start working at Quinnebog Valley Community College up in my neck of the woods, and really got my start within continuing education and haven't looked back. It's been a wonderful experience.
And came here in
Came here
2 years
2 years
ago.
ago, a little over 2 years ago.
What were your responsibilities at Quinnebog Valley Community College?
Largely the same, although on a scaled back version, still within continuing education, so providing, but a lot of my programs were more personal enrichment than they are now. We are much more focused on workforce development now. At Quinnebog, it was more personal enrichment, so we did motorcycle rider training programs, programs for kids. We did a kids
So now
academy.
that you're in Middlesex County, what's unique about Middlesex County and Meriden, this area that we serve?
Depth of programming, just the and also a divergence in incomes, different backgrounds. It's a much more diverse population here than up in.
So there's some
Quinnebog.
wealthy people here as well as
wealthy people, although as well as those that are really in need. But just varied backgrounds, just chatting with people, different cultures. It's really a melting pot.
So we've been talking mainly about what the college can offer to people who are either unemployed or minimally employed.
Yes.
And what I'm hearing you say is the main thing is not so much qualifications, it's motivation. If somebody really wants to work and they know how to show up on time and that kind of thing,
Yes.
they should come and talk to you. They
Yes.
really should.
And even if they're looking to update those skills, you have to have good work ethic. But if you're looking to, you say, well, my communication skills could use a bit of a tweak. Whose couldn't? we all could use to continue that education.
Absolutely. And if you're a little scared of math, that's okay. Come and talk to you.
And maybe different programs, maybe they're not for them, but we'll find something that will.
Right. This has been Middlesex Moments, and my guest has been Ian Canning, who's Director of Business and Industry Services at Middlesex Community College. And his phone number, one more time, is 860-343-5865. Take a look at our website, MxCC.comnet with two M's, comnet.edu. I'm Jonathan Daube, Interim President of Middlesex Community College. Have a good day.